to find horror in the infinite, to discover madness in the pursuit of knowledge, to embrace humanity's insignificance as the ultimate cosmic truth, is to grapple with the dark philosophy of H.P. Lovecraft. What if the universe we perceive is merely a sliver of an unfathomable reality? What if the ancient forces that govern existence dwarf our comprehension, rendering our struggles utterly meaningless? What if some doors are better left unopened, yet the allure of forbidden knowledge proves irresistibly strong? For over a century, Lovecraft's unsettling tales have captivated and disturbed readers, not with simple monsters, but with the chilling realization of humanity's precarious place in a vast, indifferent cosmos. He masterfully blended elements of horror, science fiction, and mythology to forge a unique literary landscape, populated by ancient, unknowable entities such as Cthulhu and Nyarlathotep, beings that embody cosmic forces far beyond human understanding. These great old ones are not merely antagonists, but representations of an uncaring universe, indifferent to human suffering and aspirations. Lovecraft's work also reflects the anxieties of the early 20th century, a time when scientific advancements challenged traditional religious beliefs, leaving a philosophical void that Lovecraft filled with a sense of cosmic dread. It's important to acknowledge the problematic aspects of Lovecraft's personal views, including his racism and xenophobia, which are undeniably present in some of his stories. These prejudices stemmed from his own anxieties and fears, casting a shadow over his work that must be confronted and perhaps examined through a Jungian lens as the shadow of himself, humanity, and the larger world. Despite these flaws, Lovecraft's exploration of cosmicism remains a powerful and enduring force in literature and popular culture. This brings us to the central question: how does Lovecraft's cosmicism reflect and confront the human search for meaning in a universe that appears to be fundamentally indifferent? Is it simply a philosophy of despair, or can it, paradoxically, offer a strange form of liberation by forcing us to confront the true nature of reality? This video will explore the philosophical underpinnings of Lovecraft's cosmicism, examining its connections to nihilism, existentialism, and absurdism, and investigating its potential to offer a path towards acceptance and even resilience in the face of meaninglessness. We will delve into the core themes of Lovecraft's stories, explore the philosophical connections to nihilism and existentialism, examine the emotional impact of cosmicism, discuss criticisms and responses, and consider its relevance to modern anxieties. By understanding Lovecraft's cosmicism, you can gain a deeper appreciation for the human condition, confront your own existential anxieties, and perhaps even develop a more robust personal philosophy for navigating a complex and uncertain world. So, let's begin our exploration into the dark philosophy of cosmicism and discover the unsettling truths that lie hidden within Lovecraft's tales. The universe, a silent, sprawling theater where humanity's dramas play out on the smallest of stages, observed by an audience that doesn't care, doesn't judge, and barely even notices. What if the grand narratives we construct our religions, our moral codes, our very sense of self-importance are nothing more than fleeting illusions projected onto the vast indifference of the cosmos? This is the unsettling heart of cosmicism, the universe as an indifferent spectacle, a Kant's P, that H.P. Lovecraft explored with unparalleled dread and imagination. Cosmicism posits that the universe is immense, ancient, and operates according to laws that are utterly unconcerned with humanity's fate or well-being. This perspective stands in stark contrast to anthropocentric views that place humans at the center of creation, imbued with inherent value and purpose. Consider, for example, the Abrahamic religions, which teach that a benevolent God created the universe specifically for humanity, a notion Lovecraft utterly rejects. As Lovecraft himself wrote, humanity is a negligible episode in the history of an uncaring cosmos, a chilling reminder of the insignificance of human endeavors on the grandest scale. The implications of this indifference are profound. No divine plan, no inherent morality, no guarantee of justice. This is not to say the cosmos is cruel, but its indifference can feel that way to beings evolved to crave significance. It is our interpretation that assigns malice to its indifference. The cosmos simply is. This is a perspective that evokes feelings of awe, terror, and perhaps, most disturbingly, insignificance. It is a perspective that must be carefully approached, lest a healthy sense of cosmic perspective devolve into nihilistic despair. But how did Lovecraft translate this abstract philosophy into his chilling tales? Lovecraft populated his fictional world with the great old ones, beings of immense power and alien morality, as embodiments of cosmic indifference. These entities, such as Cthulhu, Yog-Sothoth, and Azathoth, differ fundamentally from traditional monsters or villains. They are not driven by human emotions like greed, revenge, or hatred. Instead, they operate according to inscrutable cosmic imperatives, their motivations forever beyond human comprehension. Cthulhu, for instance, slumbers in the sunken city of Arlai, an immense being of vaguely anthropoid outline, with an octopus-like head and dragon-like wings. His very existence defies human understanding, and his awakening heralds an era of madness and chaos. Lovecraft also employed the concept of forbidden knowledge, often manifested in the form of ancient texts like the Necronomicon, to symbolize the dangers of seeking truths that humanity is not meant to know. The Necronomicon, penned by the mad Arab Abdul al-Hazred, contains unspeakable secrets about the nature of reality, secrets that shatter the minds of those who dare to read them. Consider the story of The Call of Cthulhu, where characters piece together fragments of forbidden knowledge, gradually descending into madness as they glimpse the true nature of the cosmos. This directly connects to the theme of the limitations of human understanding and the fragility of sanity when confronted with cosmic horrors. Even more disturbing, Lovecraft's stories often subvert traditional heroic narratives. Unlike Beowulf, who can overcome the monster Grendel, Lovecraft's protagonists are often powerless to stop the cosmic forces they encounter, their efforts ultimately futile in the face of overwhelming indifference. They may uncover unsettling truths, but they can rarely alter the course of events. This is in stark contrast to traditional heroic stories that present hope against all odds, where courage and determination can triumph over seemingly insurmountable obstacles. Lovecraft's Cosmicism wasn't formed in a vacuum. Let's turn to the specific philosophical connections. Lovecraft's Cosmicism finds echoes in various philosophical schools, most notably nihilism, existentialism, and absurdism. Nihilism, the rejection of inherent meaning, value, and purpose in life, resonates strongly with Lovecraft's depiction of a godless cosmos devoid of objective moral standards or inherent order. Friedrich Nietzsche, in his proclamation of the death of God, captured the essence of this nihilistic perspective, suggesting that the decline of religious belief had left a void in the human psyche, a void that Lovecraft filled with cosmic dread. Consider the absence of any divine presence or guiding hand in Lovecraft's stories, replaced instead by uncaring cosmic entities and the cold, indifferent laws of physics. This aligns with nihilism's central tenet, that life is without objective meaning or intrinsic value. Lovecraft's work also shares common ground with existentialism, the emphasis on individual freedom, responsibility, and the search for meaning in a meaningless world. Existentialist thinkers like Jean-Paul Sartre argued that humans are condemned to be free, burdened with the responsibility of creating their own values and meaning in the absence of any preordained purpose. This concept of bad faith, clinging to comforting illusions to avoid the burden of freedom, can be seen in Lovecraft's characters who desperately cling to traditional beliefs or scientific rationalizations in the face of overwhelming cosmic evidence to the contrary. They choose to remain ignorant rather than confront the terrifying truth. Furthermore, Lovecraft's Cosmicism aligns with absurdism, the conflict between humanity's inherent desire for meaning and the universe's lack of meaning. Albert Camus, in The Myth of Sisyphus, explored the absurdity of human existence, comparing it to the unending labor of Sisyphus, condemned to eternally roll a boulder uphill only to have it roll back down. This unending struggle mirrors the futility of human endeavors in Lovecraft's stories, where characters constantly grapple with forces beyond their control, their efforts ultimately insignificant in the face of cosmic indifference. Cosmicism can elicit many challenging emotions. Let's discuss the emotional impact of this philosophy. The emotional impact of cosmicism is profound, evoking a spectrum of feelings ranging from awe and wonder to terror and existential despair. Contemplating the vastness of the universe, the insignificance of humanity, and the potential for cosmic horrors beyond human comprehension can be an overwhelming experience, eliciting a sense of awe and wonder at the sheer scale and complexity of existence. Lovecraft masterfully evokes these emotions through his vivid descriptions of cyclopean architecture, non-Euclidean geometry, and the sheer alienness of the great old ones. Consider, for instance, the feeling of cosmic dread that permeates at the Mountains of Madness as the expedition members uncover the ruins of an ancient alien civilization, a chilling testament to the indifference of the universe and the fleeting nature of human existence. However, cosmicism can also lead to existential anxiety, depression, and a profound sense of meaninglessness. Realizing that life may be devoid of inherent purpose can be a difficult and even traumatic experience, leading to feelings of alienation, despair, and a sense of being adrift in a cold, uncaring universe. Finding healthy coping mechanisms and developing a personal philosophy for navigating these feelings is of vital importance. But what if cosmicism might also facilitate a sense of liberation from external expectations and societal pressures? If the universe is truly indifferent, then we are free to create our own values, define our own purpose, and live our lives according to our own terms, unburdened by the weight of tradition, dogma, or societal expectations. Cosmicism invites you to author your values, freed from the script of divine mandate. It allows us to ask, what do I value in this brief flicker of consciousness? What gives my life meaning, regardless of the grand cosmic narrative? While Lovecraft's cosmicism continues to inspire dread and fascination, it is not without its critics and detractors. So, how do we reconcile the unsettled brilliance of H.P. Lovecraft with the undeniable presence of racism and xenophobia woven into the very fabric of his life and work? To ignore this shadow is to offer an incomplete, even dishonest, picture of the man and his cosmic vision, mirroring the necessity, as Jung argued, of acknowledging the shadow self in the journey toward individuation. It is crucial to confront these uncomfortable truths, for they cast a long shadow not only over Lovecraft's legacy, but also over our understanding of the human condition itself, a condition fraught with fear, prejudice, and the ever-present temptation to demonize the other. Lovecraft's racism and xenophobia, while inexcusable, were undeniably rooted in his own anxieties and fears about societal change, and the perceived threats to his own cultural identity. Anxieties that, sadly, are not unique to him, but echo throughout history and continue to resonate in our own time. Was his cosmicism, in part, a projection of these personal fears onto a grand cosmic scale, transforming earthly anxieties into existential dread? It is easy to imagine that the other gods, so alien and uncaring, may also represent the people he saw as bringing ruin to his world. It is important to remember the historical context of Lovecraft's views, acknowledging that while such prejudices were, regrettably, common during his era, particularly in the United States during the early 20th century, their prevalence does not excuse them, nor does it diminish the harm they inflicted. To understand Lovecraft fully, we must acknowledge this dark side, not to excuse it, but to grapple with the complex interplay between his personal biases and his profound artistic vision. With that in mind, how do these prejudices manifest in his stories, and how do they shape our understanding of his cosmic vision? Lovecraft's biases undeniably influenced his portrayal of certain characters, cultures, and entities in his stories, shaping the very landscape of his cosmic dread. Consider, for instance, how non-white characters are frequently depicted as primitive, degenerate, or inherently evil, mirroring racist stereotypes that were pervasive in his time. The inhabitants of Innsmouth in The Shadow over Innsmouth, with their grotesque physical deformities and their unsettling hybridity, serve as a chilling example of Lovecraft's anxieties about miscegenation and the corruption of racial purity, anxieties deeply rooted in the racist ideologies of his era. The story's depiction of the gradual degeneration of the town's inhabitants into fish-like creatures can be interpreted as a metaphor for the perceived dangers of racial mixing, reflecting the prevailing fears of societal decay and the erosion of traditional values. Furthermore, his xenophobia is starkly reflected in his portrayal of alien entities as inherently hostile and incomprehensible, embodying the fear of the unknown other, writ large on a cosmic scale. Are these unknowable aliens a convenient stand-in for the prejudices he was otherwise too afraid to voice? This fear of the unknown can be interpreted as a metaphor for his anxieties about societal change, cultural mixing, and the perceived loss of control in a rapidly changing world. In light of these observations, do Lovecraft's biases ultimately undermine the philosophical depth and universality of his cosmicism, or can they be interpreted, however uncomfortably, as a reflection of the darker aspects of the human condition, a condition marred by prejudice, fear, and the persistent impulse to other those who are different from us? While his views are unequivocally wrong, they remain a part of the human experience, and exploring them with critical awareness can offer valuable insights into the complexities of prejudice and its enduring power to shape our perceptions and our stories. With specific examples of Lovecraft's biases in mind, let's look at some textual evidence to support these claims. Lovecraft's stories and letters offer abundant textual evidence of his racist and xenophobic views, providing a disturbing glimpse into the darker corners of his psyche. Consider, for instance, passages where he expresses derogatory opinions about specific racial or ethnic groups, revealing the depth of his prejudice and the extent to which it permeated his worldview. In Herbert West Reanimator, Lovecraft employs overtly racist language to describe the black character, with demeaning stereotypes reinforcing the prejudices of his time. Similarly, the horror at Red Hook is rife with xenophobic imagery, depicting immigrants as inherently sinister and threatening, embodying the fear of the other that fueled much of his writing. These biases are not merely incidental details, but rather contribute significantly to the overall atmosphere of dread and unease in his stories, shaping the reader's perception of the characters and the world they inhabit. It is easy to see how his fear of the other is often projected onto his alien entities, making them even more terrifying and incomprehensible, as these entities become vessels for his own anxieties about societal change and cultural contamination. However, some critics and scholars have attempted to contextualize or mitigate Lovecraft's biases, arguing that his views were simply a product of his time and that he should be judged according to the standards of his era, not ours. However, the limitations of these arguments must be acknowledged. It is important to recognize the harm caused by his views, regardless of their historical context. So, now that we have addressed his shadow, how can one begin to reconcile Lovecraft's cosmicism, if at all, with these problematic views? It is crucial to acknowledge Lovecraft's biases while still appreciating his contributions to literature and philosophy, recognizing the complex and often contradictory nature of human creativity. We have seen how his racism and xenophobia influenced his portrayal of characters, cultures, and entities in his stories, shaping the atmosphere of dread and unease that is so characteristic of his work. Now let's discuss how his work is both criticized and still defended, engaging with the ongoing debates surrounding his legacy and the challenges of separating the artist from their art. Is Lovecraft just an awful bigot, or can he be understood through Jungian shadow work as a man who was speaking to a deeper anxiety, a man wrestling with the darkness within himself and projecting it onto the cosmos? Perhaps Lovecraft saw the uncaring, alien gods as more desirable than the uncaring, alien people he couldn't understand. However, by confronting the darkness in Lovecraft's work and his life, we can gain a more complete and honest understanding of his legacy, grappling with the complexities of his vision and its enduring power to provoke, disturb, and inspire. Can we separate the artist from their art, and should we? Cosmicism can be interpreted in two contrasting ways: as a source of existential terror or as a path to liberation, a fork in the road where one either succumbs to the crushing weight of cosmic indifference or embraces the freedom that comes from recognizing the inherent meaninglessness of existence. Cosmicism can either crush you or liberate you. On the one hand, Cosmicism is terrifying because it strips away all meaning, purpose, and hope, leaving humanity adrift in an indifferent universe, a tiny speck of consciousness in an infinite ocean of nothingness. This perspective can lead to nihilism, despair, and a sense of utter insignificance, as the realization that our lives are ultimately meaningless can be a difficult and even traumatic experience. Consider, for instance, examples of characters in Lovecraft stories who succumb to madness and despair when confronted with the cosmic horrors, their minds shattered by the weight of forbidden knowledge and the realization that they are utterly alone in a vast, uncaring universe. But what about the other side of the coin? What if Cosmicism can liberate you? Cosmicism can be liberating because it frees humanity from the constraints of external expectations and societal pressures, empowering individuals to define their own values, create their own meaning, and live their lives according to their own terms. Cosmic indifference eliminates the fear of divine judgment or cosmic punishment, allowing individuals to live authentically and without fear, embracing their freedom to choose their own path without the threat of eternal damnation or cosmic retribution. Cosmicism can be seen as a rejection of traditional religious and moral systems, empowering individuals to define their own values and create their own sense of purpose, freed from the constraints of dogma and the weight of tradition. Confronting the vastness and indifference of the universe can foster a sense of awe, wonder, and humility, leading to a deeper appreciation for the preciousness of human connection and experience. One can find meaning and purpose in their own lives and community, even if the cosmos itself is indifferent, finding solace and connection in the shared human experience. So we see that Cosmicism elicits a myriad of emotions, but Randolph Carter in The Dream Quest of Unknown Kadath embodies a strange form of beauty and wonder in the cosmic unknown, despite the dangers, suggesting that even in the face of cosmic indifference, there is still room for exploration, discovery, and the pursuit of personal meaning. Contrast Carter with Charles Dexter Ward in the case of Charles Dexter Ward, who succumbs to the lure of forbidden knowledge and descends into madness, illustrating the dangers of seeking truths that humanity is not meant to know, and the importance of maintaining a healthy sense of skepticism and self-preservation. The choices these characters make reflect their individual perspectives on Cosmicism and their ability to cope with the implications of cosmic indifference, revealing the spectrum of human responses to the existential challenges posed by Lovecraft's cosmic vision. Characters who cling to comforting illusions or seek to impose their will on the cosmos often meet a tragic end, highlighting the futility of resisting the fundamental nature of reality and the importance of accepting the limitations of human understanding. Lovecraft himself may have been torn between the terror and the allure of the abyss, reflecting his own ambivalence towards the implications of his cosmic vision, the internal struggle between the desire for meaning and the acceptance of meaninglessness. Lovecraft's themes are as relevant today as they were a century ago. Cosmicism can evoke both terror and liberation, reflecting the contrasting ways in which individuals and characters react to the implications of cosmic indifference, reminding us of the importance of confronting these existential questions and developing a personal philosophy for navigating a complex and uncertain world. In our modern world, Lovecraft's themes are more relevant than ever, resonating with contemporary anxieties about climate change, technological advancement, and existential threats that loom large on the horizon. So, how does Lovecraft's cosmicism resonate with our contemporary fears and concerns? And what can we learn from his dark vision about the human condition and our place in the universe? By understanding how the current day connects to these themes, one can be better equipped to understand the nature of reality and the future that awaits humanity. But we're just scratching the surface. Is Lovecraft a genius whose work transcends his flaws, or is he a bigot whose prejudices taint his entire artistic output? This question lies at the heart of the ongoing debate surrounding H.P. Lovecraft's legacy, forcing us to confront the uncomfortable reality that artistic brilliance can coexist with deeply problematic personal beliefs. On one side, critics argue that Lovecraft's racism, explicitly present in his stories and personal correspondence, undermines the value of his cosmicism, perpetuating harmful stereotypes and promoting a dangerous worldview where the other is always a threat. These critics point to stories like The Horror at Red Hook and The Shadow over Innsmouth as prime examples of how Lovecraft's prejudices shaped his portrayal of non-white characters and cultures, reinforcing racist ideologies that were prevalent in his time. Some argue that his fear of the unknown isn't merely existential, but deeply interwoven with his fear of people different from himself. However, others defend Lovecraft's literary achievements, arguing that his work should be judged within its historical context, that his prejudices are ultimately separate from the philosophical themes he explored, and that his cosmic horror transcends his personal biases. They suggest that his stories tap into universal human anxieties about the unknown, the limitations of knowledge, and the insignificance of humanity in the face of a vast and indifferent universe. They also emphasize Lovecraft's influence on countless writers, artists, filmmakers, and musicians, solidifying his place in popular culture. Acknowledging that contextualizing Lovecraft's views does not excuse them, can we still find merit in his work, or must we reject it entirely due to its problematic elements? The question remains, regardless of intent, do his prejudices ultimately invalidate the philosophical insights found within his cosmic horror? Regardless of these viewpoints, what is it about Lovecraft's work that continues to resonate with so many readers, even today? It is easy to imagine that one explanation lies in the unique power of his cosmic horror and the philosophical themes he explored. His cosmicism taps into fundamental human anxieties about the unknown, the limitations of knowledge, and the insignificance of humanity in the face of a vast and indifferent universe, anxieties that have only intensified in the modern era. Consider the enduring appeal of Cthulhu, the ancient, slumbering god whose very existence challenges the foundations of human understanding and sanity, a creature whose incomprehensible form and immense power embody the cosmic indifference that lies at the heart of Lovecraft's vision. Lovecraft's influence extends far beyond the realm of literature, permeating countless aspects of popular culture. His themes and creatures have been adapted and reimagined in various media, from films like Alien, which shares Lovecraft's themes of cosmic horror and the terror of the unknown, to video games like Call of Cthulhu, which directly engage with his mythology and explore the psychological impact of encountering cosmic entities. This pervasive influence speaks to the enduring power of Lovecraft's vision and its ability to tap into our deepest fears and anxieties. His work offers a unique form of escapism, allowing readers to confront their deepest fears in a safe and controlled environment, grappling with the challenges of a meaningless world. His stories can be seen as a form of existential therapy, helping readers to confront their anxieties about death, meaninglessness, and the limitations of human knowledge. But at what point does Cosmicism become a self-fulfilling prophecy? How does it begin to alter one's worldview? Lovecraft's Cosmicism, stripped of its overt prejudices, taps into a deeper truth about the nature of reality, forcing us to confront the limitations of our own understanding and the fragility of our existence. Consider how his vision mirrors our current understanding of the universe through science, the insignificance of Earth and humanity, and the indifference of space. The vastness of the cosmos, the potential for extraterrestrial life, and the looming threat of existential risks like asteroid impacts or global pandemics all echo Lovecraft's themes of cosmic indifference and the insignificance of humanity. In a world where traditional sources of meaning and authority are increasingly questioned, Lovecraft's vision may be particularly relevant, offering a framework for navigating a complex and uncertain world, empowering individuals to find their own meaning and purpose in the face of cosmic indifference. By accepting the limitations of human knowledge, we can cultivate a sense of humility, curiosity, and wonder, finding freedom from external expectations and societal pressures, and define our own values. However, can this acceptance lead to liberation, or does it merely amplify our existential anxieties? Ultimately, Lovecraft's Cosmicism encourages us to question the nature of reality and to find our own answers in the face of the void. So, can we find liberation in the face of cosmic indifference, or are we doomed to succumb to existential terror? We must acknowledge both his flaws and his contributions, recognizing the complex and often contradictory nature of human creativity, as Lovecraft's legacy reminds us of the importance of critical thinking, self-reflection, and the search for personal meaning. Can the meaninglessness of Cosmicism liberate us from the expectations of others and allow us to find our own true purpose? This exploration will lead us to practical strategies for coping with cosmic anxiety and cultivating a sense of meaning and purpose. By confronting the darkness of Lovecraft's Cosmicism, we can gain a deeper understanding of ourselves and the world around us, but we're just scratching the surface. Does the meaninglessness of Cosmicism liberate us from the expectations of others, allowing us to find our own true purpose, or does it simply amplify our existential anxieties? As we delve further into Lovecraft's dark philosophy, we find that the answer is far from simple, and the path forward is shrouded in psychological complexity. When the universe doesn't care about you, how do you care about yourself? Cosmicism often leads to a profound sense of psychological isolation and insignificance, deeply impacting self-perception and mental well-being. Confronting our insignificance in the vast cosmic scale can trigger feelings of alienation, anxiety, and a questioning of fundamental beliefs and values. This existential confrontation can be deeply unsettling. Consider, for instance, the experience of reading about the sheer scale of the universe, measured in billions of light years, and the infinitesimal size of our planet within it. This knowledge can induce a sense of vertigo, as our everyday concerns seem trivial in comparison to the grand cosmic drama unfolding around us. Moreover, Cosmicism can trigger what psychologists call cognitive dissonance, where individuals struggle to reconcile their innate desire for meaning and purpose with the apparent meaninglessness of the universe. This dissonance can lead to psychological distress and the adoption of defense mechanisms. One such defense mechanism is explored in terror management theory, which posits that people cope with the anxiety caused by the awareness of their own mortality by seeking meaning and purpose through cultural values, beliefs, and relationships. In Lovecraft's tales, characters often cling to sanity by desperately trying to impose order and meaning onto the chaotic cosmic tapestry, only to be shattered by the realization that their efforts are futile. However, the path is not always madness. Some characters find a way. Even in the face of cosmic indifference, the human spirit can find ways to endure, to create, and even to thrive. Despite the potential for despair, individuals can demonstrate remarkable resilience. We see this in Lovecraft's characters, some of whom exhibit resilience even if they ultimately succumb to the cosmic horrors. Take Randolph Carter in The Dream Quest of Unknown Kadath, for instance. Despite facing unimaginable dangers and witnessing the terrifying realities that lie beyond human comprehension, he never abandons his unwavering pursuit of beauty and knowledge. Carter's passion and creativity provide him with a sense of purpose, a reason to continue his quest, even in a universe that ultimately may be meaningless. His dreams, his art, his desire to explore these become his anchors. Expanding beyond Lovecraft's fiction, we can find real-world examples of individuals who have confronted existential challenges with resilience and creativity. Albert Camus, in his philosophical works, introduced the concept of the rebel, who finds meaning in defiance against the absurd, even in the face of inevitable defeat. The rebel acknowledges the meaninglessness of existence, but chooses to live with passion and purpose, creating their own values and fighting for what they believe in. Consider also the lives of scientists, artists, or activists who have dedicated themselves to a cause, finding purpose in contributing to something larger than themselves, even if the universe remains indifferent. So, how does one go from being crushed to finding that strength? What is the catalyst? Cosmicism, like a trial by fire, can burn away the superficial and leave behind a stronger, more authentic sense of self. It can be a catalyst for personal growth and the creation of meaning, leading to a deeper appreciation for life and human connection. Confronting one's insignificance can lead to a reevaluation of personal values and priorities. By recognizing the limitations of human knowledge and the impermanence of existence, individuals can learn to appreciate the present moment and the beauty of simple things. Consider the increasing popularity of minimalism, where individuals intentionally reduce their possessions to focus on experiences and relationships, becoming hyper-present by focusing on what truly matters. Moreover, cosmic indifference eliminates the pressure to conform to external expectations or societal norms, empowering individuals to define their own values and live authentically. This newfound freedom can lead to self-discovery and the creation of personal meaning through art, relationships, or the pursuit of knowledge. Lovecraft's own creativity allowed him to make a mark on the world, despite his anxieties and prejudices. He channeled his fears and insecurities into his writing, creating a unique and enduring body of work that continues to fascinate and inspire readers today. So where does this leave us? The universe may be indifferent, but what impact can it have on art? Cosmicism can inspire unique and powerful forms of artistic expression, from literature and film to music and visual arts. We've explored the psychological impact of cosmicism, the potential for resilience, and its role as a catalyst for personal growth. Lovecraft's own work exemplifies the creative potential of cosmicism, inspiring countless artists to explore themes of the unknown, the sublime, and the limitations of human perception. Films like Annihilation and Event Horizon directly engage with Lovecraftian themes, exploring the cosmic dread and the psychological toll of encountering realities beyond human comprehension. Annihilation, in particular, captures the sense of awe and terror that Lovecraft evoked in his stories, depicting a world where the laws of nature are warped and twisted, and where human understanding is pushed to its breaking point. Beyond Lovecraft, other artistic movements and traditions have grappled with similar themes, such as surrealism, existentialist literature, and abstract expressionism. These artistic expressions offer a way to process and make sense of the anxieties and uncertainties of the modern world. The abstract expressionists, for example, sought to express the raw emotions and inner turmoil of the human condition through non-representational forms, reflecting a sense of alienation and meaninglessness. Can art offer us a glimpse into the abyss, or can it help us to find beauty and meaning even in the face of cosmic indifference? The universe may not care, but we can care for each other, create art, and find meaning in our shared human experience. But we're just scratching the surface of the connection between cosmicism and art. As we draw together these threads, let us reflect on the journey we have undertaken into the dark philosophy of cosmicism. We have explored the bleak outlook at its core, Lovecraft's masterful use of it in his stories, the related philosophical schools of nihilism, existentialism, and absurdism, and the varied emotional impact from soul-crushing terror to a peculiar sense of liberation. Throughout it all, we have seen how crucial it is to acknowledge Lovecraft's shadow, his problematic views, alongside his undeniable artistic achievements, framing both as vital to fully understand his enduring work. This has illuminated the central tension, the seemingly Sisyphean struggle to find meaning and purpose in a universe that appears to be, at its heart, indifferent. We began by pondering a paradoxical question. Can insignificance actually be liberating? Initially, cosmicism appeared as a philosophy of despair, a cold and uncaring doctrine that reduces humanity to nothing more than fleeting specks of dust in an infinite cosmos. However, as we have traversed the shadowed landscapes of Lovecraft's imagination and delved into the depths of existential thought, we begin to see that cosmicism can also be a catalyst. It can free us from the shackles of external expectations, empowering us to define our own values and create our own meaning, even in the face of overwhelming uncertainty. Through unflinchingly exploring the darkest aspects of Lovecraft's vision, confronting the terrifying insignificance of humanity, we can gain a new, and perhaps even defiant, appreciation for the beauty and fragility of human connection and experience. It is only by confronting the apparent meaninglessness of the universe that we can truly begin to create our own meaning. The cosmos may indeed be silent, seemingly uncaring about the fate of humanity. Yet, within that very silence lies the potential for infinite creation, the freedom to define our own values, to pursue our own passions, and to connect with others in meaningful ways is not diminished by the vastness of the universe. It is, in fact, amplified. It is in the face of this cosmic indifference that human connection becomes all the more precious. Therefore, I encourage you to further explore Lovecraft's stories and other works of cosmic horror, approaching them with a critical and nuanced perspective. Consider the themes we've discussed, the philosophical implications, and the psychological impact of confronting our insignificance. Reflect on your own existential anxieties and consider how you can find meaning and purpose in your own life, even amidst the chaos and uncertainty of a seemingly indifferent world. Perhaps you will find solace, inspiration, or even a strange sense of liberation in the face of the cosmic unknown. And I hope you'll connect with others who share your interest in cosmicism and existential philosophy, fostering a community of like-minded individuals who can support and challenge each other on this journey of self-discovery. Thank you for joining me on this exploration of Lovecraft's cosmicism.